Yeah, we are on YouTube, so let's start with the conversation. Good evening, YouTube. We are here for another English immersion. The topic of today is technology in sports. So we are going to talk a little bit about this topic and what we think about this. Okay. But before that, I would like to explain a little bit about you that are seeing us on YouTube to understand how it works, how Talk and Talk works, and how this kind of immersion work as well. Okay, so in a general way, Talk and Talk is a conversation platform for beginner, intermediate, or advanced speakers. So this kind of conversation that we are having here are for all levels. So it's not so important or mandatory or English level, you know. So the main point here that is not a regular class. So I'm not an English teacher and we are not here to teach you anything directly. Actually, I'm here for learn with you as well. But you will learn by practice in a real environment and with a real topic as well. And the main idea here is develop your fluency and the most important point is develop also your confidence as an English speaker. Okay, that's the most important point. Um, Besides English, we have a lot of other languages here, like Spanish, French, Italian, German, and Chinese, I guess. So we have a lot of other languages, and you can see that on Talk and Talk website. Okay, so that's the introduction about Talk and Talk and how it works, and this kind of conversation works. Okay, so that's the idea. So let's start with the introductions, and after that we can follow the questions. My name is Warley. I'm 25. I live in Recife, Pernambuco, and I work with IT as a front-end developer. And I'm also English and Spanish host here on Talk and Talk. I'm here since 2022. I have started with Spanish as a host, and nowadays I'm focused more on develop my English skills and develop my English in a general way. And yeah, I think that's the main idea about me. Okay. Mari, can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi guys, my name is Mari. I'm 32 years old and I live in Atibaia, São Paulo. I'm a married. I'm a degree analyst and the systems development. Now I work from home. I'm here in Talk and Talk since in June and 2024. And I participate this class for English and Spanish too.
Amazing, Mari, amazing. And how about you, Cowboy? Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. My real name is Edilton. I'm from Salvador, Bahia. I'm 39 years old and I'm into studies. I like to go to the beach. I like to study language, technology in general. I'm in Talk since April, and I love the process to achieve a new language. And I'm doing great in this immersion. And I could evolve myself in all this process. And I'd like to thank of the host to do the best and conducting of the mission great. Thank you.
Amazing, Cowboy. Thank you. So let's start with the question number one. Okay. What is the future of sport for you? And for example, with the advancement of technology and social changes, what will sports be like in the coming decades for you? What do you think about this idea and the future in a general way of sport? I'll start with you, Mari. What do you think about this?
I believe have different filters. I believe there will be progress in terms of train exhibition during these sports and football, volleyball, handball, and others. Because the sports still need these people today, and I believe it will have a new tools for training and even artificial intelligence for training too, and have a sometimes I believe in generally opportunities for so many peoples. I forgot to ingressar in sports. principal football, for example, uh, have a different expectations about this gender, this practicing. Uh, Today, I believe existed the games for training, virtual training during these sports because this person's training in your home sometimes and other in clubs. And I believe it have it, yeah, que vai ter, né, terá mudanças, changes, but not much, but important.
So do you think, for example, in the future, at sport, they will use like so much technology related to recover, to prepare themselves, and also technology together with the sports, for example, like yeah, sports, electronic sports, and all this idea? What do you think?
Yeah, I believe say yes, and because it helped so many people during the training. For example, I don't have time for go to the gym, but I have opportunity training in my home. I believe say this different points for so many people have discipline for training. I don't have a discipline for training online, but I like so much the gym, go to the gym. It's a very important discipline because how can I say reunimos? I forgot the word. When we gathered, so
Together.
many gathered, and for training, it's so very intense because I have. Do you feel in other persons? Do you have opportunity to talk with the other person too? And sometimes only in my home, I don't have opportunity for them.
Yeah, I understand you. I think it's like different, to make like sports on outside and with people. It's better to see people, to get a fresh air and to talk a little bit and to have this interaction. It's important for us, but it's nice this opportunity and this way of doing sports and exercise at home, for example, alone, and when you don't have like time for go to the gym, for example. So this mix of use and practice of sports is nice. Uh, but let me ask you another question, and that's a complex question actually. Do you think it's like it's if it's fair to think about technology used in sports? For example, if you think about Olympics and you compare developed countries and not developed countries, I don't know how to say that in English, uh, using technology for sports, do you think it's fair the competition between the people from developed countries competing against people from I don't know a poor country and all this idea because the technology help the preparation and development of the athletes, but not not all countries have this kind of technology and this kind of money to do that. So do you think it's fair to have this competition in Olympics on all on other competitions, for example?
Oh, it's so very hard your question.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a good one.
I believe in today these Olympics uses so many technology about this space for practicing your sports, but about this person, it's so hard because so many people use it one more time this technology for develop yourself and develop your sometimes for your training, but uh, It's very hard to answer these questions for me because I don't have knowledge about this theme, specific theme, but I think during the time, so many people accepted this development technology in your lives for your training, for in your life, for your relationship, uh, independent the situations and the sports change life. This I how can I say athletics,
Athletes, yeah,
athletes,
athletes.
and change these athletes and uh, conform advance these technologies. These athletes change your expectative about these sports, specific training. And I believe, um, for God, don't have a substitution for these athletics for robots. It's so very hard.
Yeah, and that can be a reality at this point of robot and this development of technology using on sports. So yeah, it's a hard question to answer. I don't know
Yeah.
if I have this answer as well, but I will try next call. So what do you think about this question number one, and after that about this question that I asked related to fair and unfair advantages related to the use of technology, you know? So let's start with the question number one first. Let me
In
know.
my case, the future of the sport will be included other types of sports, like the e-sport. Imagine a Olympic sport that you simply do the competition in home office. In chess competition, for example, you use a special computer to do the competition. The computer is uh, with features to feed out the competitor sheets in the competition. This is one example. Other example is you have a sort of technology to get real data about the athletes in the process of competition. Imagine you can measure the heartbeats in a runner and you start the 100 meters proof and finish, and you can watch the graphs about the heartbeat, the peak. Imagine other example, you have virtual augmented reality to simulate uh, uh, some movements in uh, sort uh, sports like boxing. If the competitor had this attack, you can simulate this attack. It will be very interesting. You in the competitions, a lot of technology. You with that you can uh, competitions without problems or impede some frauds or unfair results.
Nice. And actually, you brought some interesting points about this use of real data, for example, in a competition or in a training. It's nice. All the athletes have like a lot of data to understand and to measure and to use for improvement, you know, so that's nice. I think we already have technology for that, you know, so that's amazing, the use of that, and I think the future will that will be used a lot. And besides that, the point that you said about virtual reality and this kind of technology used to training, that's a amazing point because you can simulate a competition, for example, or a specific way in a specific moment of the competition, and you can like training with that, so that's another amazing point. And I think it's a nice point of use technology in sports and to improvement all this idea. But doing the same question that I asked for Mari, let me know what you think about this point of that's fair or unfair to all these use of technologies comparing competitions between people from rich countries and poor country, for example, and countries that don't have this kind of technology, and this access. What do you think about this?
Good question. The technology will be great to reveal of the inequalities in the first place. The second, reveal the dynamics of the different countries. For example, you have countries like US that sport is a cultural behavior, and all the market is uses the sports to enhance the sales, the profits in companies or athletes. For example, you are a basketball player, very rich, and not necessarily the basketball player need to be a Olympic athlete for the US. Simply the fact that he's a champion in NBA for one team is great for your career. Is one example. The other example is there is a lot of companies that use the sport culture to get the profits and enhance your money, enhance the wealth. For example, Adidas, Nike is basically created for the sport. And countries like Brazil and the other poor countries need to create a future and invest in the sports because in the last Olympic Games, is realized that the lack of caring about the athletes. We had 3 gold medals, but of these athletes has to works, several works to do. It's not only athlete. One of that is army soldier. The other is a professor. The other is there's other occupation. This technology reveals the inequality that is there existed and is showing the office. You need to create, every country needs to create a sports program, invest in the health population, and this process during several years. You don't have a short-term result. That is a policy that you only get the result from that. China is a good example of that. When China is growing the wealth, is growing the investments of sports, and this Olympic Games will solve the good result. Second place, but there's a lot of good medals.
Yeah, this point of incentive, it's also a cultural thing, I guess, but we need to focus more, for example, here in Brazil, to the government does incentives for all sports, it's important to develop this encouragement and this incentive for sports and this help for them to practice and to develop a culture. But I also think it's important for us as a population to develop this culture as well, to focus and to uh, uh, like to give importance of sports and to have this idea of how sports is important uh, and support actually athletes and all these points. So it's important to develop the culture of sports in Brazil. And as you said, if you compare us with United States, for example, it's crazy the difference of incentives for comparing both, you know. And I think related to that, I really don't know how exactly answer this point of fair and unfair advantages of poor and rich countries, but I think it's maybe unfair comparing the use of technology and all these good points that help a lot athletes and comparing, for example, a USA athlete competing with a Brazil athlete, for example, that doesn't have all this support and all this technology and all this money and all this incentive to uh to get to improve in sport and to get better, you know, to training and all this stuff. So I don't know, maybe in a long term, all these advantages of use technology and incentive is like how can I say that I even forgot in Portuguese? To use like drugs, you know? How can I say that in Portuguese or in English? I really forgot that. Uh, I really forgot the word in Portuguese. Let me know.
O tempo vai dizer, seria isso?
No, it's like athlete using drugs to get better to compete, you
Ah,
know?
doping. Doping.
Doping, exactly.
Doping.
Tem em
Thank you.
inglês também,
Doping.
in English, doping too, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's the same, exactly. I was forgot. Even it's the same in both, I forgot the word. I'm sorry. So I think in a long term, this incentive and this use of technology to help athletes, it's like a doping because technology and incentive like that and use all this money to to support athletes is like a doping, you know, because they help a lot training and improvement on these athletes. So they get an advantage compared to the others, you know, that doesn't have this support, for example. So in my opinion, in a long term, it can be like a doping, you know, so it's really unfair, I guess, comparing that, but well, what can we do? You know, it's complicated to talk about that and to it's like in measure this difference of use of technology and incentives and all this idea, and we shouldn't like put the level for the lowest point, you know. So yeah, we need to support and to develop the point of poor countries to have also this technology and also these incentives, you know. But it's complicated. Thinking about competitions, Olympics, for example, it's an unfair competition compared to some countries. You know, it's complicated in my opinion. But yeah, it's a complex topic. So let's go to the question number two. How does the media portray social media in a general way? Actually, how does the media and social media, for example, portray women athletes? And is there a difference for you in the coverage of male and female sports, for example, and mainly in Brazil or in all the world and Olympics, for example? What do you think about this, Cowboy? You
Good,
are muted
good
already.
question. In my case, in my opinion, in Brazil, the women have a different coverage because in country, there's a main sport that you get a lot of views, a lot of attention. That's soccer. And the soccer is traditionally played for men, but the uh, women teams got good results. This team suffers prejudice, but in, with our hard work, the prejudice will get better, you reduce it, and the people you uh, get 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 conscious about the of the process that women can play football, play any kind of sport, and uh, get valued as a athlete. And other sports, uh, in sports traditionally uh, played by women, for example, gymnastics is different. The the media uh, has a good coverage when the athletes like Rebecca win the gold medal in the Olympics. The media is using this topic to incentivize other women and showing that women can do race, can be athletes. And I believe with the good work, you'll be you'll be you became a reality for a lot. But there's one point that I answered in the first question. State is to create programs to incentivize the sports for every people. Brazil is lacking for the investment in sports. Only soccer is receiving the investment because of the market is using the sports for enhanced sport. Uh, there's a lot of sports that don't have like patrocínio em português, em inglês, I don't know. That's, there are a lot of places that is like for receive investment for the industry.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the government has a lot of importance in this point, like to develop and incentivize all these sports and all these coverage and all these media focus. So I think it's important to develop sports in Brazil. Well, Brazil is a huge country, so we have a lot of people here and a lot of people to do to do a lot of sports. So we need to focus more in a lot of other sports. We focus a lot on soccer, for example, but we need to focus more on other sports and mainly focus on male sports as well and to help them because it's important. We don't have the same treatment and the same coverage on both. So it's important to help them and to develop both. And also to incentivize other women to focus on that and to get on sports. It's important for all of us, So yeah, we need to focus that on that. But what do you think, Mari? What's your opinion about that?
I believe in that woman, sorry, appear little in relation to men in the media. Her in Brazil football is a predominant brand for men. Now that we see women in football. Now, for 5 or 7 years ago, and today I see this woman in football. I often believe that we are still little behind in some situation. I believe that the only women's sports I hear about and see on TV are volleyball and gymnastics. And I think that is not much investment in women in relation to sports as there is in men in relation to football. There is a lot of talent on the both sides, but women are well below that is expected in terms of government government investment in female development. It's so hard in
Yeah,
here, Brazil.
that's difficult here, and I don't know if you all listen that, but in the Olympics, an athlete from Brazil of athlete marcha atlética, he was saying about here in Brazil, we have two kind of sports, soccer and the other that are winning, you know, that are winner that are winning. So it's totally true, you know. We here in Brazil, we all in Brazil focus a lot on soccer, and it's so famous here and all this point, and it does make sense, but we also focus on Olympics, for example, or another point, just uh, on the other sports that are winning, you know. So it's really unfair at this point because we have a lot of sports and not in all time we are good getting winners, and it's common as well. It's part of sports, so it's really unfair. And in comparing and thinking about the difference between male sports and female sports, and male and female participating in sports, actually, it's really unfair. We have a huge disparity and between both, you know, even in soccer, that's really famous here in Brazil. We don't have the same opportunities and the same support from a female, for example, compared to men's women's, and compared to men's practice soccer. So it's complicated, and I think that starts at the beginning, you know, in the school, for example, all the children's uh, speaking about that maybe. And I think women when they are a kid, they thinking like I'm not good at soccer, for example, or I don't want to practice soccer, and I don't know, I can't practice soccer, or all these ideas. So it's complicated. It's a huge culture developed for that, you know. So it's a huge change as well to do. So it's also complicated.
Yes,
Uh,
it's a big
yeah.
difference. And for example, Neymar is more famous than Marta. There are both from
Mhm.
football. That is a strength, but it's real.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, even one soccer player that's not so famous, maybe he's most famous than Marta, that is the best on the world, you know. So yeah, it's a huge disparity on both, and some points make sense because of the attention that people give for this. But yeah, it's complicated to think about that. But
Yes.
okay, I think we can jump to question number three because we answered something like that. So let's go to the question number four. That's a really good one. How do social networks influence the image of athletes and the public's perception of sports? How do you think this happened, Mario?
Oh, I think so. Big influence about this social media because so many people use this social media during the day and more time in your life. And for example, Neymar has so many influence for men's. And for example, Neymar talking about this your tennis. So many people buy the tennis because Neymar. It's Neymar. It's so good relation about this marketing. Marketing. It's a good marketing for so many companies. It's Neymar have millions views in your Instagram and Twitter. I don't know if this is Twitter.
Yeah,
and
it's blocked here in Brazil, but it doesn't. It exists as well.
and TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but so many families have this platform, social media platform. It's so big influencing for the children and the other women. Sometimes with women and women too. I believe so big influence in not not only in specific sports for specific things, so many things, sports and marketing, digital marketing. I don't know, and I talk this tigrinho. I don't know, says if Neymar share with display gaming tigrinho, but I believe so many people have influenced the Neymar. Little tiger. So
Yeah,
good.
I agree with you, and I think all these sponsorship, it's also it has also a disparity, because people that follow Neymar, for example, they have they give a lot of attention for him, and a lot of I forgot to how to say marcas in English. uh how can I say? Let me see.
Brands.
Brands, yeah, like brands, but it's not exactly the same. It's like empresas, actually. I think companies, it's more correctly. So a lot of companies will give money for him to talk about his speakers, as you said, or about I don't know, some products, and a lot of people will buy that because of Neymar, for example. And for example, compared to Marta, she doesn't have the same visibility and the same views and the same attention that Neymar has, So yeah, it's also complicated thinking about this sponsorship point, and it's also a disparity. So yeah, it's complicated. Social media, it's focused on attention, and the ones that receive most attention, we receive more money, and yeah, that's unfair or not. That's happen like that. So yeah. And how about you, Cowboy? What do you think about this question number 4?
My case, the social networks enhance the image of the athletes because Brazil is a needy people. Brazilian needs to have a hero, to have a people that you can uh, use it as your own idol. Is simply a sub-celebrity in Big Brother or a meek person participating in a meme. He became a god in the social network. And they athletes with a good result, rich or wow, excellent life. And your point of view about the people is simply the best. So it's the simple fact the social networks boost the athletes image. A lot of athletes use that social networks to create your own value and some cases do publicity to get some profits because the people simply love that the simple fact that the artist is present on Twitter, TikTok, and etc. And for the evil also, the social network is destroying. quem destrói a person. And the athletics is uh, when you get a worse result or involved in a crime or any kind of polemics. Political issues, for example, they might have a preference for a president candidate. Your life became a hell because a lot of people in Brazil do not like your position. E aí, Brazil is como interesting situation. The people is simply, I don't know what to say, cobrar em português. Is asking for a position, political position in opinion from the athlete. You athlete, you must do opinion for that. If you have other type of opinion, I just don't like it. Is interesting. So, in Brazil, it's important to have a caution when you use social networks because the people are very involved and you can get problems. Thanks.
Yeah, I think you can say demand for cobrar, you know. I don't know, or request, for example. It's also other word that you can use maybe to this idea of cobrar in Portuguese, I think. But yeah, I understood your point and does make sense a lot. And it's also complicated. All this culture of cancellation, you know, here in Brazil, it's complicated, and social media uh, has a lot of impact on that as well. So yeah, also complicated. But guys, unfortunately, we don't have time for one more question. So I would like to send here on the chat the link of the survey. As you said, it's an anonymous survey. You can say what you think. What did you think about the immersion and suggest another topic, for example, that you want to talk about. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the conversation. It was nice for me. I enjoy a lot. And I see you on the next time. Okay. Thank you, Mari. Thank you, Cowboy. See
Thank
you.
you